sorry. Sometimes I don't start the live feed right away because someone asked a random question while we're setting up the live feed, but you might as well hear this part. So today we'll be doing Mastering Free Will. We're on part 5. I'll catch everyone up on the first 4 parts. But someone asked a question, do some people have harder lives than...
Objectively harder lives than other people.
And is that like meant to be that way?
No, but I asked like a Rebbitzin this question because I was talking to her about my life, and she said, "Oh, everybody has their hardships." And I asked her this question, and she...
Anyway, different people have different levels of hardships. The hardships come from 3 things. The first is being a karmic stink bug, and that can be either because you're harming others, and therefore people are going to... It creates an energy of that's going to bring the harm your way. Another is that someone could have beliefs about themselves, like no one will ever love me, so they're going to always be in these crazy situations with people. I'm alone. And so that's, if someone's got that kind of energy, so they're going to be repelling people out of their lives. I'm stupid is going to, there's no way you're ever going to get a high-paying job. You're going to be always suffering from financially or something, or there's never enough around. The scarcity mentality. So those are all energy. That's all vibrational energy that people put out, and they suffer daily. Like life's always coming at them exactly according to their vibrational energy. Now that can be cleaned off. You can always clean up your vibrational energy and have really clean vibrational energy, and then all the good stuff starts coming your way. There's something you can't really clean off, and that is the second kind of thing that people suffer, and that is cosmic debt. What was the first one? Karmic stink bug. So the second one's cosmic debt. Cosmic debt comes from previous lives. We've all lived previous lives, and especially the last life you lived, if you didn't fix it up. If you didn't fix things up, which you obviously didn't because you're here now, so you got more work to do. But you can have bleed-throughs, like they're carryovers from previous lives, and there's certain things you just got to go through. There's nothing you can do. You just got to go through certain stuff. And so you'll go through that stuff. And now, there's one more thing about cosmic debt, is that you can actually repeatedly go through stuff until you surrender. So if you are full of resistance over the stuff you've been going through, it'll probably stay. If I resist this pen, it's not gonna, you can't get it out of my hand. So the stuff we resist is going to stay. And that's why some people who have cosmic debt from previous lives will go through a lot over and over and over and over again, because they're so full of resistance. In a rhyme, it's whatever you resist persists. Whatever you resist persists. Whereas whenever you surrender, you'll reach the ender. I don't know how to say it. Whenever you surrender, someone give me a good rhyme for surrender. It should have something to do with the end.
The faster you surrender, the faster you reach the end.
Anyway. Just, you can speak it out, and someone can say that they can tell God, like, listen, God, they accept that which is coming down the pipes their way, and please to teach them what the lesson is they're supposed to learn here, and that they let go of it totally, and if that's the way it's going to be. For example, I had a suffering that's not a kind of suffering that's you're probably referring to, but it's quite a suffering, is I was an observant Jew, and I didn't feel my prayers. I didn't feel anything, not my blessings, not my prayers, not my mitzvahs. It was like someone turned out the lights on every single thing in Judaism for me. And I just kept trucking throughout the year, but so frustrated. It was just tremendously frustrated. And by the end of the year, I finally went down to the kotel. This was a surrender moment. I went down to the kotel and I said, listen, God. And I did the opposite of what most people do. Most people do, like, say, if you don't make me feel this next prayer, I'm out. I did the opposite. I said, listen, God, I'm in no matter what. So if you don't want me to feel another prayer the rest of my life, I'm not going to stop. I'm in no matter what. So you don't want me to feel anything? So I'll do it without feeling anything. I'm not stopping. I'm surrendered to this experience of just being an absolute servant. Because think about a servant. If you have a servant, whether it be a housekeeper or whether it be a slave, they don't come up to you and say like, hey boss, I really don't feel it. You're like, that's nice. Can you please finish the laundry for us? I'm so sorry you don't feel it. Get the job done though. If you want to get paid. So I basically said to God, I'm in no matter what. Then I stepped into my prayers after this. It was well over a year that I went through this. I stepped into my prayers. It was the evening service at the Western Wall, and lo and behold, it was amazing. Like I think 5 or 6 whole prayer groups went by, and I was still in Shmoneh Esrei, still in the silent meditation. Every word was like, it was almost like every prayer I had made over the last year, all the missing feeling came to me. It was one of the greatest, most ecstatic prayers I've ever made, and it kept with me ever since. So surrender's a good thing. I totally surrendered. I really came to the wall to surrender. I made a specific trip from town to just go into full surrender mode, and that broke through the dam. The third type of suffering that people go through is something there's not much you can do about it except for work on your trust in God, and that is our children. We're like linked to our children. I know they cut the umbilical cord, but we're linked to our kids. Like everything you're going through, your parents are going through. That's just the way it is. Everything I'm going through to this day, I'm like, an older person now, and my father's in his late 80s, and whatever I go through, he's going through.
Even if he doesn't see you go through it?
Yeah, if he hears about it.
I'm saying,
if he hears about it, he's going through it. And obviously I'm going to share with him, because I'm not going to hide my life from my father. I tried that for 2 decades. Not a good idea. Better let him suffer a little bit and share my life than have a fake relationship with my father, and not share anything. So I didn't share for 20 years. Now I share everything, and within reason. I don't want to really upset him, but if my back was hurting, I'd probably tell him, but I would not tell him for another 2 conversations. Just because it's going to hurt him to know if my back was hurting. But we're just linked to our children. That's all there is to it. We're totally linked to them, and whatever they go through, you go through. And we can attest, those of us who have put kids through school, if something goes wrong in school, could be even the slightest thing, and you're just like, it's like it was done to you. You feel it.
You're also linked to your parents. The link is down.
I mean, if anything happens to them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. My father got in a car accident this week. 88-year-old. They're usually his fault at that age, but this time it was it was probably someone on medical marijuana or something, like slammed into his car.
It's California.
Yeah, it's California. It doesn't have to be medical there anymore. Someone on recreational marijuana. Which one's stronger, the medical or the recreation? So anyway, so we're linked, and it's an interesting age we're in. Is you're being pulled on both sides. You got your parents needing you, and you got your children needing you, and you're just like, it's so stretched, and it's like it's hard to hold on when you're in your 40s through your 60s. You got a whole upper generation needing you, and you got a whole younger generation needing you. And you're just like, wow. Yeah, we all got to be doing all the time. We all got to be doing what we call emotional yoga, because you're going to be in all kinds of positions that you got to breathe through. In yoga, you get in all these positions, and they're not easy, and they're hurting, but you must breathe through it. And they always tell you, the yoga teacher always tells you, inner smile, because what happens is newbies to yoga, when they're in a very difficult position, their face turns into this raisin man grimace. They start making all these gym noises and stuff. So the yoga teacher will say, "This is not gym," and then they'll say to the practitioner, they'll say to him, "You don't need your face for this position. You don't need your face for this." So in our age, we have to be doing that yoga, breathing through it, inner smile, and a sense of peace while being torn in both directions. My parents just let me know that they're coming to Israel. That's usually good news, but at my father's age, this is going to be interesting. Because we got a house full of kids, and we're going to have, he's going to have, at one point, I'm going to have to move a kid in there just to take care of him a bit, so.
When are they coming?
And none of the kids are jumping for that, we were raised, my kids are all raised in a Torah home, and I was not raised in a Torah home. I don't think any of my kids want to hear a loose cannon, like hear my father unfiltered on the world, on his take on the world, for 24/7, You have to come in with earplugs or something. Yeah. Yes.
What about God giving you the strength to withstand all your trials?
Everyone has a strength.
So then
We can all take it.
So then, if everybody can take it, then it's not true that one person's harder than the other. If everybody has their strengths.
Oh, I hear you saying. I would consider it objective that if some person barely goes through anything, for example, single people, meaning the ones who stay single all their years, now they suffer a certain amount of loneliness, but they'll never be stretched into the places that married people get stretched into. They'll never go through so many things that married people go through. And so they will not have suffered as much. Had they got married, they would have had the strength to go through whatever marriage would have taken them through. So I would still hold that people have different levels of suffering. Someone who keeps a 9-to-5 job and works for somebody and doesn't have to take his work home, and he closes it up nice and tidy at 5, goes home, enjoys sports and whatever they do at night, or studies Torah at night, or comes back the next day at 9 to someone else's creation to do their desk job, is not going to feel the kind of suffering that someone who owns a company and is taking on the tremendous responsibility and the liabilities, and not to mention investors' monies, and they're just going to go through so much more than the people who work for the company, and hence are paid that much more. For the responsibility comes with, you get a reward for that. Okay, let's do our class. Yes, ma'am. Wait, one thing. We're going to restart this. We're going to start a new live feed. Should we start a new live feed?
We could.
No, you know what? We can keep it. It's just that I got to check one thing. Yeah, what's your question, Alana?
Back to the previous question, sharing or not sharing with parents, if that's all linked. Would it be sometimes that you may choose to not share with your father so that he would avoid the suffering? Would it be kinder to not share still, or just finding the way to?
Thanks for asking. Yeah.
So I'm starting over?
Yeah, let's start.
If the main objective is
Mastering free will, and that is, it'll start with just catching everyone up. So part 1, who knows?
Constant.
Constant. Every moment is a chance to choose. Everyone choose to be doing what you're doing right now. Everyone choose to be wearing what you're wearing right now. Everyone choose to be sitting next to the person you're sitting next to right now. Everyone choose to be here with me, meaning me, this hour, right now. Okay? Constant. Number 2 is reevaluation. That you're hardly a master. How can you be a master of free will if you are living off the momentum of previous decisions in your life? That's one. These are the pitfalls. Momentum. Living off the momentum of previous choices. And 2 is dealing with the social pressure. The social pressure to stay the same, because people get used to where you're at. And if you actually make if you reevaluate and make a shift, they don't know who they are anymore. It creates a vacuum in people's identity. People have very tentative, vulnerable senses of themselves. And so what gives us more sense of self is the people who surround us, our families, our friends. And when you reevaluate your life and shift what you're up to, it causes them a crisis. They have an identity crisis. Who am I if she is no longer, playing according to our totally fictional rules of our family, or totally fictional rules of our community? It makes them wonder who they are. And so so there's a lot of social pressure for all of us to never reevaluate, but to always stay the same for our loved ones. But if you ask me, that ain't love. For me, love is to, I hate to quote Sting, but if you love someone, set them free. My kids, I gave them such an intense, powerful, loving, Torah upbringing. But I also I tell them this is your life, do what you're gonna do, you figure it out. I gave you the best I could do, and wherever you go, I will support you to the end of the earth. I will never stop loving you. I will never stop backing you, no matter what you do in this world. And you want to know something? I think that causes them to, I'm not doing it purposely, but I think it's causing them to be more interested in what I do. Because they're just gee, it's what's all this unconditional support I'm getting? So obviously something's working for Dad. Whereas when parents are do this or do this or else, then the kid's more gee, this path is not a path of love. This isn't a path of choice. This is a path of force. So the kid's obviously going to be interested in looking where the love is, where's the acceptance, where's the healthy, organic living of choice in life. So it's very important that all of us, when raising children, foster a large amount of choice, large amount of free will in their path, while being an amazing example of steadfast, white fire service of God and keeper of the Torah, studier of the Torah, being a student of God, student of the rabbis, being the most powerful example to our families, but always giving them all the slack they need to be choosers, which includes lots of unconditional love and lots of unconditional support. So that's number 2 is reevaluation. Number 3 is the battleground. Oops. We're all on a battleground between the soul and the body voice. Okay, everyone has 2 voices in their head, the soul voice versus the body voice. Okay, we all have a soul voice and we all have a body voice, and they're always at battle. If you don't like that, so guess who's going to win? The body voice, because this battle is between Bambi and Godzilla. And Bambi don't stand a chance to Godzilla. Godzilla's going to win. So all the people who don't like the fact that they're in a battle and want to ignore the fact that they're in a battle are going to lose the battle. I would say one of the more dangerous places in the world is a battlefield. It's safer when you realize you're on a battlefield. but it gets extremely unsafe when you don't realize that. So, imagine someone who's deaf on a battlefield. So they don't even realize all the shootings going on. Now, the number 4 is the soul. That's what we did yesterday, is how to negotiate yourself towards the right action. How to negotiate yourself towards right action, because you got a body voice, you're going to have to negotiate. So, yeah, that was yesterday's session. I'm not going to go back to that, but it's basically how do you negotiate your way towards right action, to do the right things.
If you just make the chart, that pretty much explains
The
it.
chart kind of does it. So there's the way it works is like this. We did it only in Judaism. It couldn't be for anything. There's a level of there's observance, and then there is connection. There's observance and there's connection. And what happens is you get some people who are very high on observance, but you don't get a sense they're very connected people. Like I meet people who are like so observant, but you don't get even a little spiritual sense from them. In fact, you get a lot of judgment and kind of harshness from them, and you don't sense godliness. This is not a person of God. This is a person of law or something, stricture. So you get high-level observance without a lot of connection. They're also, and we all got to experience this yesterday because we had a hippie from Hawaii here. Oh, I forgot to go to that party, and I was free. Oops. And my wife was free too. It's just the way it goes. If I need a reminder the minute before every event. Anyway, there are people who are like, all connected, but they don't do observance, and they usually don't last too long in marriages and stuff like that. They're usually single people, and because they like the connection, they like to connect to people. They don't like the responsibilities of observing the contract of the relationship. If you are in a deep relationship with someone, you have to observe their needs. There's an observance factor. So, on the other hand, in a relationship, you can observe all their needs and totally forget to go stare in each other's eyes and, sit and have bottled wine together. All the magic of connection. Both can. And obviously, where we want to be is, we want to be in this middle place, which is that you want to be right down that middle, which means that your observance and your connection are always like working organically together, observance and connection. Now I'm confused what that has to do with the soul. I mean, I can answer it, but why does that perfectly sum it up?
That's how you balance it.
Making a choice.
Not going too far in either direction.
But which one's body? Neither one's body.
You can make such a chart always.
Yeah, you think? Connection's more body?
I mean, it depends what your observance can be body too.
This is an excellent chart for something else we were discussing yesterday. It's a very good chart for you.
Whoa.
What?
I had a question in it that is observance
Go
without
nuts right now,
connection
'cause it's already
observance.
4, and there's no way I'm not doing number 5. Okay? Number 5, by the way, all of these could be like just applied to business. Remember, this is like make the calls and don't go to the sports bar. Because the body wants the sports bar. And the soul needs to call China. Like you still have another phone call to make, which means you could be dealing with, the hassle of an interpreter and being on the phone, and like dealing with them, and who knows how long it'll take. And meanwhile, the Super Bowl's going by, which the body wants to go be part of. The last is, now we get more into spirituality. Number 5 is God. And why is God part of mastering free will? The reason is because whether you're an atheist or whether you're a believer, the world looks the same. If you're walking down a street in the old city and you're an atheist walking next to your best friend who's a believer, this city still looks the same. It still looks the same. But meanwhile, the person who's the believer is really walking through the mind of God. If you've heard some of my other classes on this, the believer's walking through the mind of God. This is like, I know the Old City Stone's hard, but the Old City Stone's hard. But that's our friend we help for Shabbat. Normally it's not a giant soundbite when he reminds me with his face. It's almost like the atheist walks through the Old City Stones as hard stones, but the believer is walking through the Old City on it's almost like soft tissue. The believer is like almost walking. It's like you're walking through the mind of God, because all there is God, and He created the world out of Himself. So the whole world's really of God. We have a different term for it in Hebrew. It's called Elokus. So, like for example, every blessing is Baruch Atah Hashem, God who, the God who is outside creation. Elokeinu is the God that's in creation. Even my kids at home sometimes make blessings. They say Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu, Melech Haolam. They make a reference into how God fills space and time. So this is like the ultimate mastery of free will, is to just like walk down the street, just like snapping those fingers, like just getting present. It's very similar to constant, but to be in that zone that you're never ever outside of the realm of God. It's amazing if you just remember. So for example, like if you're getting tired of trying to merge onto a highway, like it's a stop sign merge and people have to let you in, and no one's letting you in because they're like, I don't know, suddenly it was a bunch of people from Brooklyn, and so it's just like no one's letting you in. So that looks like no. But when you're living in this mastery of free will, those are all yeses. They're all yeses. Why? Because God's saying yes now, meaning after 10 cars went by, someone went like this, like go ahead, and you went in. But I don't want to be driving at 70 miles per hour in a bucket of steel. That, things don't go so hot when you crash at 70 miles per hour. I want to be exactly where God wants me. I don't want to be 10 cars up because I'm so aggressive and cut off one of those guys. I want to get in when God wants me in. And so it's just a different way of looking at the world totally. It'll just look like a car merged on the highway, but that driver is experiencing something totally different. But it's a move you make with your free will, choosing to be inside this incredible mind of God that we're all in. That's today's session. That's all 5 steps. And before you turn it off, I'm just going to let you know a couple of things happening. Number 1 is we obviously take care of this rabbi who hit some tough times, and we try to help him for Shabbat meals. The next is, I just call him rabbi. He looks like a rabbi. He's not a rabbi. But the next is I have an open third meal every week, Saturday evening at 7:40ish, 7:30, 7:40, whatever. You can come a little earlier and help us set up, but it's a 2-keg beer spiritual experience. I speak at it. I share also it's with some intense singing and really like spiritual experience. After that, we go out and pray, and we come back to a full band. I lead a band in Saturday night where we do the Havdalah service. It's the going out of Shabbat, and we do a full musical concert at my house. Last week we had probably 60 people there. So,
Wow.
Where do you? What's your name?
So I live on, I'll show you where I live. I live right off Ben Yehuda Street. It's called Hanatziv 11. Okay. Hanatziv 11. And it's off Ben Yehuda Street. So you just go up Ben Yehuda. And it's the 3rd street after King George. Meaning at the top of the foot mall of Ben Yehuda, there's a street called King George, busy street. Won't be busy on Shabbos though. And you cross King George, and then you go to the 3rd street. So after you cross King George, the 3rd street's Hanatziv, and we're Hanatziv 11. It's about 30 feet from the end of the block where it tees. So we're about 30 feet from the tee on the left. 30 feet from the tee on the left. It's right behind the hall we're working in. So
7, you said?
it's parallel to Shomron. It's going to be at 7:30, 7:40. Come early if you want to help. We usually wash around 7:45, something like that, for the bread. So everyone's welcome to that, and we do it almost every week. So please join us. Any other announcements? Tomorrow I'm going mountain biking. I might go get some beers if anyone wants to get beers with me around. I'm not sure exactly when, but I'm going to come to town right near the old city here. There's a place that has it has a smoked stout from the Solera Brewery in the Emek Valley, Emek Israel Valley. It's such an incredible beer that I've...
Date beer?
What?
It's made with dates.
No dates. And it's, anyway, it's been waiting for me all week. And so I'm kind of excited. I kind of bought off my body to do a lot of good work this week to get in there and have my beer. Shalom, everybody.